All right, so for this video, I kind of wanted to I wanted to try sunglasses for this one, but yeah, title of this video: Aliens are Nephilim, right? The extraterrestrial entities are actually demonic entities, right? And this is something that I kind of wanted to talk about because you see in the modern UFO narrative that there does seem to be this agenda of essentially editing out the spiritual component of uh, of essentially of these beings, right? And what they want to do basically is instead of acknowledging the interdimensional, spiritual, non-physical aspect of all of this stuff, right? What these people want to do, and this feeds into Project Bluebeam and all that kind of stuff, right? But what they want to do is they want to edit out the spiritual component of all this, and they just want to say, oh, aliens and demons are just they're just little green men, they're just little aliens, and like, oh, okay, they're just they're extraterrestrials, they're from other planets, and it's all they want to essentially make it a sci-fi thing. And you see all the movies, right? And then obviously like the movies and like the Hollywood and everything else, like it's controlled in order to program the public, right, with predictive programming, right? And so you see a lot of like the alien invasions in movies, right, to program the collective unconscious. And you know what the predictive programming reminds me of is it reminds me of like in the Dark Knight when the Joker says nobody panics when everything goes according to plan, even if the plan's horrifying, right? And so that's the whole point behind predictive programming, right? And so if we go back to the topic at hand, aliens are Nephilim. Aliens are demons, right? Demonic entities, right? But what these people want to do is they want to promote this idea of essentially just non-human entities, right? Just passing off demons and angels and everything else. They just want to pass that off as, oh, they're just like creepy little alien beings, and it's just weird physics, and they want to keep it within 3 dimensions, right? Which is also the other bottom line is the materialist agenda behind all this. They want to keep it in the physical realm, right? It's like, okay, if they can no longer hide the non-human aspect, then they're gonna try to hide the non-physical aspect, right? And this this also feeds into Project Bluebeam, which is basically, if you don't know what it is, it's basically the agenda to fake an alien invasion in order to get people to in order to scare people into unifying into a one world government centrally controlled, and to get people to give away their rights because, oh my gosh, there's aliens in the sky, so take away my freedoms, I want safety, right? That's Project Bluebeam, right? And there is a whole thing that you can go into about the holographic technology, the satellites and everything else, where they're going to project basically imagery into the sky to make it look like there's an alien invasion, in order to scare people, right? And also in order to, and this is also related to, like a one world religion, like the New Age religion, right? All that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, I wanted to talk about basically, the alien, yet again, the aliens are Nephilim, and what the agenda is with this is to basically use a fake alien invasion to facilitate the real alien invasion, right? Because there is an invasion of the non-human, uh, of like the non-human element of the non-human type, right? But this non-human invasion, if you want to look at like lizard people, right? If you want to look at like the Nephilim, the fallen angels, half human, half fallen angel hybrids, so those are the people that are running the governments of the world, right? So you have that component of it. But then you also have like what the agenda is in the public eye, right? Which is that, oh, okay, well, it's like, oh, lizard people are stupid, and like this idea of like demonic entities, but oh, aliens, right? It's crazy how like these people will, like these secular people, they'll simply deny the existence of demons, archons, jinn, evil spirits. They'll deny that stuff, but as soon as like the aliens come about, they're like, oh yeah, they're real, right? Because, and yet again, I say this again, because of the non-human element, right? The non-human, not the non-human element, the non-physical element, excuse me, right? Is, because people are stuck in the paradigm of the non of physical of physicality. They're thinking inside the box, inside 3 dimensions, inside the cube of Saturn, if you want to put it that way, right? They're still thinking within that paradigm of, it has to be physical, and it has to be atoms, and it has to be, the laws of physics and the laws of science, even though those are just laws of this simulation, right? This is like, those are like the rules of this video game, the code of this video game. And yeah, and yet again, I think that, like, there is this huge component of, like, yet again, like, aliens are Nephilim, but they want to edit out the non-physical aspect of it in order to make it seem like it's more of a sci-fi thing. It's more of like a Project Bluebeam, like, oh, these aliens are coming to invade humanity, and it's all just physical stuff. Because if you can get people to ignore the spiritual component of all this, then you can get people to do, because if you never acknowledge the non-physical spiritual component of things, then you'll never understand how this world works. Plain and simple, right? If you don't understand the non-physical spiritual, what motivates these entities? Why do these entities hate humanity, right? Why do these entities work against us, right? Then you'll never understand what all of this is about. You'll never understand why is it that we're in the situation that we're in? Why is it that we're in this reincarnation soul trap, right? Why is it that we're in this matrix? Why is it that these entities seem to work against us? Why do these entities not like us? Why do they hate us, right? If you don't acknowledge the spiritual, non-physical component of this, then you're always going to be in the dark and be like, oh, the aliens, what do they want? Why are they here, right? It's like ancient aliens, right? Like, they're just, it's just pure speculation. They're always asking questions, and they never have clear answers because they're stuck in 3D. And that's the thing about ancient aliens as a as a TV show, is that they're stuck in visible light, 3 dimensions, right? Which is why they don't seem to have answers to any of the problems. Like, why are the aliens here? Is it possible that the aliens came thousands of years ago? And like, they never have the, like an actual clear explanation of what's going on. It's just pure speculation after speculation, because they never acknowledge the non-physical spiritual component of all this, right? They never acknowledge that the aliens are actually Nephilim, demonic entities, right? And this is related also to the New Age agenda, which they promote this idea of, like, star seeds, right? Like Nephilim DNA, basically. They promote this idea of, benevolent aliens, right? Like, oh, like, there's, the Team Light side, right? Which, first of all, in, like, the New Age religions, like, they talk about, like, benevolent entities and stuff like that. A lot of those quote unquote benevolent entities are deceptive entities in reality. And if you want to look at it this way, why is it that the evil aliens, like the like the reptilians or the Greys who work for the reptilians, right? Why is it that they're the only ones putting in any actual work and any actual effort to taking over humanity, but then all the good aliens are basically doing fuck all? They're basically useless paperweights, right? Think about that for a second, right? No one's good, like, and this is going to sound uncomfortable, but no one's coming to save us. We have to save ourselves from this trap, from this soul trap, and we have the power to do so. But we have to stop giving away our power to these non-human entities, these Nephilim entities. We have to stop looking at the sky. We need to look at ourselves, right? But going back to the subject at hand, the New Age religions, they promote the non-human and obedience and acquiescence to the non-human, so much. I mean, whether it's spirit guides, whether it's aliens, whether it's your star seed family or whatever. I mean, they promote or the DMT, like the demonic DMT jesters in the DMT realm. They promote this so much, and then they also promote the idea of benevolent aliens, like, oh, the aliens are here to help us and save us and everything else. But, and yet again, like, this is like the deception. They're not acknowledging the demonic aspect of this. They're not acknowledging, like, what was the ultimate goal. The ultimate agenda is to assimilate us into an AI hive mind, basically, right? To scare us into giving away our rights, and like, oh, it's digital ID, and oh, you need a chip in your brain, and oh, okay, we're going to be connected. It's like Deus Ex. You ever played that video game, right? Deus Ex. They assimilate humanity with an AI, into the AI, right? That's the agenda behind all this. And this is like a huge deception that I see. Like a lot of people when they talk about like the aliens, and when they talk about the Tic Tac UFOs and everything else, these people are being deceived because they're still thinking in terms of 3 dimensions, in terms of like the sci-fi terms, right? They're still thinking in terms of 3D. They're still thinking physical, right? But in order to understand, the quote unquote aliens and why they're here, you have to understand the non-physical spiritual component of all this, and you have to understand also that basically these aliens are Nephilim entities. And if you look at the interactions that people have with these alien entities, it's always like the worst stuff that they try to pass off as just, oh, okay, they're just higher entities, right? Like it's like people getting paralyzed, people getting abducted against their will, the memory wipes, the implants that people get, right? How is any of that benevolent? Right? And also, like, when people get abducted by these entities, right, that they feel this abject sense of like terror with these entities, and it's like these entities have to like mask themselves to make it so that they're not as terrifying. But that's the thing, is that people can sense things in the spirit, right? Your essence knows, uh, and it can sense when there's something demonic, and you can see this with like you know what that makes me think of is, it makes me think of this video of like this kid hiding from Queen Elizabeth, right? If you can look up the video, but there's this kid that's like he hides behind his mom or something when Queen Elizabeth walks into the room, right? It's like that. You can sense things in the spirit, and these people, when they get abducted by these entities, they sense this, they get that abject sense of terror, that fear from these entities, and yet the new age deceivers out there will, and also like the people like Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon and Hal Puthoff and Richard Doty, like all the people who are basically government mouthpieces, feeding into Project Bluebeam, right? They'll promote this idea of, you know, either the physical sci-fi aliens, right? Like the sci-fi aliens, like the physical aliens, which is a deception. But then you also have people from promoting the benevolent aliens, which is another deception. You have like people like Stephen Greer, which like they promote like that meditation to contact UFOs, to contact aliens, right? Which is basically you're contacting demons. You're opening Pandora's box. You're opening like the Hellraiser cube. If you do that, you're contacting non-human, non-physical, demonic entities that are actively working against humanity, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to go over that. This is just something. This is just like an info dump of just something that's just been on my mind, that aliens are Nephilim, and there is this huge deception, this huge agenda to edit out the non-physical, to edit out the spiritual, the very real spiritual good versus evil. Good and evil is real. It's not just chemicals in the brain like the materialists would have you believe. There is good and evil. There is spirit. There is non-physical. But these, the government mouthpieces and the New Agers, they'll have you believe in either a physical version of these Nephilim, or they'll have you believe that they're actually benevolent, right, and that they're here to help us, even though they're not, right? So people give away their sovereignty to the archons. People give away their sovereignty to the non-human entities, right? And another interesting component of this is in the New Age, you have this idea of star seeds, right? That oh, like we have some alien DNA in us, and that makes us chosen ones, right? That makes us special, right? But you know what that reminds me of? Is that reminds me of Nephilim DNA, right? Half fallen angel, half human, right? And they're promoting this idea of star. Yet again, they're passing off Nephilim as something nondescript. They're passing off like basically like they're calling these things everything except what they really are, right? They're calling these things extraterrestrials. They're calling these things DMT entities, benevolent aliens, spirit guides. They're calling these entities everything except what they really are, which is that they are interdimensional, non-physical, anti-human, non-human, demonic entities. And I think people need to wake up to that. People need to wake up from the deception of like the modern UFO slash alien sort of narrative. But yeah, that's the video.